Hey, what's up, good people? It's Jay Ray, the co host of Q Points, and I wanted to come to you because there are two really important ways that you can support our show. One is by subscribing to it wherever you listen to or watch your podcasts. Q Points is pretty much everywhere. The other thing that you can do is you can visit us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, and on Podchaser, and you can leave us a star rating. Please rate us 5 stars because you know you love Q Points. And on Apple Podcasts and on Podchaser, you can actually leave us a written review. It's not required, but it really does help to spread the word about the show, and it helps people to discover it as they're looking for new podcasts to listen to. We're always appreciative of you supporting Q Points. We thank you so much for all that you've done for us so far, and enjoy the show.
Welcome, everyone. I am DJ Sir Daniel.
And my name is Jay Ray, sometimes known by my governments as Johnny Ray Cornegay III. What is happening, world?
You are now tuned into Q Points, dropping the needle on Black music history, the Podcast Academy Award nominee podcast that I should say. I'm still saying that. We still gonna wave that flag. And you are now back in tune for another lively episode of your favorite podcast. J Ray, how you doing?
I am doing great, man. I was in Atlanta for a spell last week. I flew into Atlanta, got a chance to see you for a brief bit on Sunday. And
a hot second.
It was really a hot second.
Hot second.
So I had every intention of sitting at the bar, taking in the scene, but Rocksteady was rocking on Sunday. So congrats to y'all because it was incredibly busy. I could not even stay and hang out because it was too busy.
Yeah, things like that go down on a very lovely Sunday afternoon in Atlanta. But yeah, I'm doing well myself. I'm very excited about the interview we did the other day. I can't wait for everybody to check it out. It's such a wonderful interview. And man, having such a full circle moment, I can't even tell y'all about what happened to me today. I'm just gonna have to wait until everything comes out, then I'll be able to share a story that happened today. It's all good, everybody. Just it's all good. You just got to be patient. Yes. But Jay Ray, let the people know. First of all, shout out to Carlton in the chat. Also, Mark McPherson is in the building as well. Thank you guys for always tuning in. And for everybody else that is checking us out, J Ray, please let the other people know how they can keep in contact with us and make sure that they get all the notifications about everything Q Points.
Yes. So y'all should make sure that wherever you're tuning into Q Points that you are subscribed to the show. That is absolutely free. The some of the best support that you can give us is just listening and also sharing it with your friends. We talk about that in the intro to the show. So share it with your friends and family. If they are interested in music and love music as much as you do, they should probably be listening to Q Points, right? So if you want to go a step further and you want to support Q Points, we pay for a lot of stuff to keep the Q Points engine running. We have a store, we have websites, we have hosting, we have all the things. We have everything that we're using, right? So you can subscribe. You can subscribe to us at qpoints.com and just click the subscribe button and you can join. You get access to all things Q Points, including our entire archive. This is our 93rd show, which is crazy.
Wild. That's so wild. We're really close to 100 shows, J Ray.
Yes, we will hit 100 shows like we talked about before, right the day before the date we started this podcast 2 years ago. So that's super exciting. And shout out to Wani, who is also in the chat. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here.
What's up,
always. Also, make sure if you're interested, you can leave us a tip If you choose to do so, you can do that. The link to that is also, it will be in our description. You can certainly buy merch at store.qpoints.com, get something fresh for you to have, and you could join our newsletter. That's absolutely free too. If you visit Q Points Mag, that's magazine.qpoints.com, you could join, get the newsletter with all things Q Points. And we're about to enhance that joint too. We're testing some new software that is really going to make the newsletter pop even more than it's already popping. So, yeah, lots of stuff.
The AI is here, folks. AI, that's all
Yes.
I'm saying. The AI is here. But as I mentioned earlier, I'm still, proud of us for, going to the Ambies, the Podcast Academy Awards a few weeks ago. And one of the moments that I cherish most is making the acquaintance of Karega and Felicia Bailey of Soul Affirmations. And like it was like meeting some cousins
Mm-hmm.
that you didn't know you had. And so I'm still, still very proud and thankful for that connection that we made that weekend. And J Ray, we have some special thanks for them, correct?
Yeah. So, very grateful for that meeting, because these are two individuals, two spirits that share love for music. They are both musicians,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, was just so excited to hear about the work that they are doing and have done. But it was just dope meeting them. And so on their podcast, they sent love to Q Points. And so we just wanted to thank y'all for seeing Sir Daniel and I, because we see the both of you as well. And it is always dope to meet kindred spirits along the way. And so make sure that y'all follow Soul Affirmations with Karega and Felicia. We will make sure that the link to that podcast is in the description. It is a beautiful podcast from two individuals that share the same love for music as us here on Q Point. So y'all should make sure you tune into them too.
Yes, indeed. And hearing that, I think so. I saw a clip of Karega rapping. They were doing a
Mm-hmm.
performance, and I was for whatever reason, I had forgotten that he was a full fledged MC, musician, and it kind of I was taken aback. I was like, oh, yo, dude is like really for real spitting.
Mm-hmm.
The voice was there, the cadence, all of that, and it reminded me of an article I saw on Instagram. I cannot remember the account that it came from. Once I think about it, if I remember, I'll let you know. But they were talking about the most distinctive voices in rap history.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, that spoke right to me, and I
Yeah.
hit J Ray immediately, and I was like, we just started rattling off names. But
Yes.
off the top of your head, J Ray, um, name one of your favorite or most distinctive rap voices.
The one that always comes to the top of my head is always Q-Tip.
For
Um,
sure.
Yeah, I remember we talked about that, right? When I first got introduced to them on Q Points, and I think so much of what was more surprising was how Q-Tip's voice sounded, right? Because it was the first thing I had heard was I left my wallet in El Segundo, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was the cadence and the tone of his voice that for me is one of those hip hop voices that I was like, where did that come from? That is such a unique sounding voice. So yeah, Q-Tips comes to mind. What about for you? Who comes to mind first?
So, off the top of my head, she is the queen of voiceover work now. You can't watch a show on BET or an award show without hearing her. But MC Lyte, since the age of 15, 16 years old, has had one of the most distinctive voices in rap history, in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion. Um, a lot of people, so they want to qualify her voice as being heavy for a young woman, and I don't even think it was so much deep, but there definitely was a full speak. Somebody you can tell is speaking from their diaphragm
Mm-hmm.
and had definitely had control of their voice, and she spoke from that place in her diaphragm. And yeah, absolutely very husky, Carlton, you know, and it really set her aside from all the other women MCs. You know, Herbie Lovebug is notorious for saying that he, after hearing MC Lyte, he wanted Salt and Pepper to make sure that they rap from their diaphragms as well, because he didn't like when he heard female MCs speaking like from their head or
Mm-hmm.
from their nose and having that nasal sound. So yeah, MC Lyte, you, all of us to this day, even if you didn't grow up listening to her as a rapper, you know that voice. You know
Right.
that it's that MC Lyte lady that is
That
emceeing
MC Lyte
the
lady.
that is emceeing the BET Awards or the Oscars, even, the Grammys, everything. So, MC Lyte, I gotta check. Lana Moore is definitely one of mine.
Yeah, and I think to that point, um, for MCs that are coming up, that was one of the most important things about hip hop in the early years. It was not acceptable to bite, right? And biting came down to the voice and your tone, your flow, all of it was part of, you wanted to be different than somebody. You didn't want to be compared like that to someone else. And so for MCs that are coming into the game, that is just as something to think about. Like, I know in our kind of current world, it is attractive to sound like other people, but your I think what separates the artists is sounding not like someone else and sounding different, and that comes down to the tone. So think about that as well as you're developing your sounds, because that will be a really important distinguishing factor, how you sound.
Bring back capital punishment for biting.
Yo, they
Make
would drag
make
people for biting.
make biting illegal again.
Yeah.
That was like, no, you're absolutely right. That was the absolute worst thing to do as an MC. So great news. We got an early Christmas present.
We
An
did.
announcement was made. Um, the three T's are reuniting for a tour. I'm talking about Tony has done it again. They're back. They're reunited, and all the original group members, including Raphael Sadiq. So that's major.
Yeah, so that's crazy. So Tony has been out here doing shows without Raphael Sadiq for more than 20 years at this point, and he is revisiting, that's what it's called, like, he is revisiting the Tony era. Of all of the announcements, I was like, ooh, ooh, that one is one I care about, because one, Tony has a ton of hits. Two, they are a band. Three, they had such a tremendous impact on the 90s. And the music that we hear today, and Raphael has then gone on to shape the music of now. So I really want to hear what they do with all of these songs that we already know. I, what I want to hear all of this shit. I want to hear what they do with this.
So it's not only the songs that they made for their group, but everything they've written for each
Yeah.
other. I mean, for other artists,
Mm-hmm.
the rap stuff,
Yep.
because they ventured into a lot of hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the other spin-off groups, Lucy Pearl.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much history within that one band that, yeah, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing for this new generation to hear the original versions of the songs that they hear sampled today.
Yep.
So that, I mean, that this is an opportunity for families to get together and go see Tony as a family. because there's not a lot of groups that you can do that. There's not a lot of concerts that you can go to intergenerationally
Yep.
and have a moment and be like, "Ha! This is where that came from." You see, this is the chicken where the egg came from, and it's all good. We all having a good time and enjoying the music together and passing on the legacy of this band.
Yes, like that part is so exciting. So one, we get to go as families and friends and see this family like get back on stage together, right? Because we forget that often as well. And two, fun story. And some of you in the chat might remember this. You might remember this, Sir Daniel. Um, I remember when Toni, I can't remember which album they were promoting. It might have been House of Soul, but
Yeah.
they were explaining like, well, the reason why we shake all the jitters off on stage is they rehearse. Their final rehearsal is in the nude in front of the mirror. So as a band, so that they work out all the so they work out all the stuff. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So it's like we just kind of that's one of the ways that we break everything down. Now we probably can't do that in 2023 world because that's just not something we could do today. That
It will
probably
be
won't work.
the footage will be floating around
The
on the
footage
socials
would be
immediately.
everywhere, Me Too. It's a lot. It's a lot of challenges, right?
Yeah.
But I bring that up to say that's how serious they took the getting on stage part.
Mm-hmm.
These brothers is gonna get on stage and them and the band is gonna wear you out, and I want to see them. I want to get wore out, so I'm excited.
Let's keep our fingers crossed that they actually get started, because
Oh,
we've had our hearts broken over here at Q Points a few times by some of our favorite groups getting back together, and after one show everything just falls apart. So we're
yeah.
just keeping our fingers crossed. Everybody join hands in a brief word of prayer. We're just going to bow our heads real quick.
Mm.
Okay, we said it. We said a prayer, and we're going to say a prayer for Tony, and that they will in fact do it again. And yeah, let's get this going. J Ray, there are some ladies on the wall behind you that
Man,
we need to give a shout out to.
we do. So right here, so you see looking over me, baby. She's like peering over me. So
Yep.
Stephanie Mills celebrated her birthday yesterday. And yo, we listen, this current generation understands they like you can't play with Mama Stephanie.
Nope.
One, her catalog is going to body whatever you thinking. Her catalog's going to body it. And two, she is going to ride for her people, period.
Absolutely.
And she's still out here just doing it. Even going back to the verses and seeing how she was able to maneuver that very challenging moment. Stephanie Mills deserves all the flowers and the love. So happy birthday, Miss Mills. You are a gem. You have given so much and you will never be forgotten. So we just want to say happy birthday.
We're ecstatic because Stephanie Mills has officially kicked off Aries season, because there is a game right behind Stephanie Mills is another firecracker of a performer. And you just talked about the verses. We can't talk about that verses and not talk about Chaka Khan, who is 70 where?
Have you seen Shaka Khan? You know what I'm saying?
Chaka Bin Khan. She's just like, you know, in all seriousness, for someone who has been through the things that she's been through, you know,
Baby.
a lot of stuff that's self-inflicted, self-medication, living through from the 60s on up through
Mm-hmm.
now in the music industry, which we know cannot have been easy, especially for a woman who knows who they are
Yes.
and is very talented. That's not easy. But she's still coming out here looking like $1,000,000, you know? So Shaka Khan is not to be played with. The voice is an instrument in and of itself. Um, we were talking on Twitter. We were talking about what our favorite Shaka Khan songs are.
Mm-hmm.
I know my personal favorites are "I Know You, I Live You,"
Yes.
and "This Is My Night."
Mm-hmm. Oh,
J
it's a
Ray, do you
jam.
have? That's a jam. J Ray, what's your favorite Shaka Khan
So
jam?
I mean, I have so many. So I did. Oh, fun story. If you want to
Mhm.
hear, I'm not going to mention any of these, but if you want to hear my three of them, go and listen to Adrian's playlist of
You
conversations.
sure did. That's right.
Yeah, and I talked
Yep.
about three of my favorite Shaka songs. I'm not going to mention any of them on this show, so we'll put
Hmm.
the link to that in the description. But tonight, I'm going to pick two, and I'm going to pick Something Deep, written by Kipper Jones. So that song was written by Kipper Jones, Shaka Khan, and Keith Crouch. Shout out to Kipper
Hmm.
Jones. Something Deep is one of the funkiest things you will ever hear, and it's a great 90s era Shaka song that's hot. Like that song is hot. So shout out to Kipper Jones for that. And let me see. What am I gonna pick as my next you know what? I'm gonna pick Hollywood, which of course is a Rufus and Shaka
Rufus.
song. But
Right.
I it's such a beautiful song. Shaka's voice just kind of glides over that. And yes, that's what I'm gonna pick today. So for those who I see Carlton picked I Know You, I Live You, Clouds, Clouds. Ashford and Simpson is you hear them voices?
Let me tell you something. DJ Sean Cozy dropped that at MJQ's this past Saturday night, and when I tell you, of course, all the people over 40, we lost our minds when he dropped that because that is a jam. Just the huge choir screaming of clouds. You know, we cannot not talk about that song. I want to give a shout out to Gilly. I saw Gil in the building. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope he's still listening. But yeah. J Ray, you want to share a story with us about somebody. Now I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I have not thought about this person, this artist, in years since I worked at HMV Records and they had that song. I have not thought
Yeah.
about this artist since then, and that's been over 20 years.
That's been over 20 years. So we're talking about Afroman. So Afroman's Because I Got High became a phenomenon.
Mm-hmm.
Which I there is a great documentary which we will put the link in the description to that Vice did about how that song was created. And fortunately, Afroman gets to live life and still tour based on that song today. And so that is a beautiful thing. But I wanted to tell this funny story. So Vice actually just reported today. Here is the headline.
Hmm.
Cops sue Afroman for emotional distress after he made music videos of a botched raid. So here's what happened. And it's great. So what happened was um uh they're always watching Afroman apparently where he lives, probably based simply on the song, right? So apparently a group of police officers raided Afroman's home. Afroman wasn't arrested or anything. Um, but Afroman, of course, has security cameras and footage and all of that stuff. And so he did videos for his songs. Is a song called Lemon Pound Cake. And Will You Help Me Repair My Door? And he did various social media posts. And then, of course, he used footage from the cops raiding his home. And so these cops, the officers allege, this is from the article in Vice, the
Mm-hmm.
officers allege that they have faced embarrassment, ridicule, humiliation, and loss of reputation from Afroman's posts. Oh.
That sounds like a you problem. Doesn't sound like a us problem. More and more every day. So one of my favorite shows is Reno 911.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, this is a show about some very inept, very bumbling and comical police officers, a police force in Reno, Nevada. But it's kind of scary how much the police force across the nation are starting to mirror Reno 911. Like a lot of the botched home raids,
Mm-hmm.
some of it's not even scary. Some of it's not even funny because people are losing their lives
Yes.
because of it. But shout out to Afroman. Keep doing what you're doing. Put them in check. Make them shame. Make them feel shame.
So okay, we're about to head into our main topic, which is Swarm.
Spoiler
Spoiler
alert.
alert. If
Spoiler alert.
if you have not watched and you plan to watch and spoilers make you itch, it's time to stop watching. Okay?
Yeah.
We just stretching this out so that we can explain to you that we are probably going to spoil things from this point forward. So, if you are hanging from now, you are agreeing to be here.
Period.
Oh,
So.
yes, let's talk about Swarm. So, Swarm, I'm going to read a quick synopsis of this show. This is from the Wikipedia, which was a reliable journalistic institution. So Swarm, right?
Wink, wink.
Wink, wink, right? Swarm is an American satirical psychological horror thriller television series created by Donald Glover and Janine Neighbors. The series follows Dre. I'm going to add expertly played by Dominique Fishback.
Oh my
Um,
God.
right. A young woman whose obsession with a pop star named Nija takes a dark turn. And so this is a series that unfolds over 7 episodes and is kind of fascinating. So, Sir Daniel, when
Yes.
did you first hear about Swarm? Because it was a surprise to me.
So I on Twitter, I
Mm-hmm.
saw one of Amazon Prime's ads for it came up on my feed, and I clicked on it because I saw Donald Glover's name flash. Then I saw the title in bloody red on the screen. And I was like, so I clicked on it so I could hear it, and this was like one of the few times that the movie lives up to the trailer. The
Mm-hmm.
trailer had me. I was like, we're going there. And so I was like, oh yeah, well, I got to see this. And I was actually surprised that I didn't see more people speaking on it. Because of I don't know if they weren't paying attention to the glaring
Mm.
comparisons that it had to a certain pop star figure that this is loosely based off of and her fan base. But I was immediately drawn to it. I was like, oh yeah. And then again, I love Dominique Fishback. She is an actress. You hear me? From everything that I've seen her in, the movie with Jamie Foxx, and when she God, what is the name of the movie that was on HBO about the Black Panthers?
With I remember Daniel Kaluuya
Yes,
was in it, but I don't remember the name of
yes,
the movie.
y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Phenomenal actress, and she embodies a layer of vulnerability
Mm-hmm.
in this actress. I mean, in this particular character, that if you don't work in social services, you may have never seen this girl before. But because I've worked in social services, I automatically saw it, and greatly played. Greatly played. Um, the show synopsis you read is
Mm-hmm.
correct. I think we wanted to talk about I guess, social media and stan culture,
Yes.
because the movie, the comparison to Beyonce and everything, and
Mm-hmm.
the Hive and all of that is done on purpose. It's a
Mm-hmm.
great vehicle. It's a great hook to grab you in, but it's not the focal point of the show,
Right.
of the series. That's the bait. A great vehicle again, but I think it is worth discussing stan culture. I know that we've spoken about it briefly here on Q Points. We haven't dedicated a whole show to it, but we can't. It's like we can't turn on or look at our social media without seeing some sort of divide between um, certain artists and their fan base.
Yeah.
And it's a phenomenon I think that may have even started, if I'm not mistaken, there was an article written about Stan Wars that started even back when when we were young people,
Mm-hmm.
between like Janet Jackson fans and Whitney Houston
Houston
fans,
fans.
Madonna, those things. So it's not really, there's nothing new under the sun. This is not
No.
a new phenomenon at all. But I do think that, of course, social media and the
Yes.
fact that we have access to each other 24/7 has made it crazy. Like the whole, I'm glad they talked about doxing.
Yes.
Doxing is a very dangerous practice that a lot of people do,
Yeah.
and it should be outlawed.
I agree. So you're absolutely right. There's nothing new under the sun. There has always been fandom that goes too far, right? Now,
Mm-hmm.
and I will say the difference is this. So the couple of ones that I actually pulled up was, of course, I think about Mark David Chapman, who murdered John Lennon. Um,
Yes.
I think of that as an example, right? This is one that I learned about that I didn't really know happened, but apparently there was an entire murder plot around Joss Stone in 2011, where there were two
Really?
men who were fans of Joss Stone who were going to rob, who were planning to rob and murder her. They were caught and convicted. It's crazy. I didn't know it happened. Um, so there has always been um this kind of there has always been examples of unhealthy relationships between fans with their relationships to artists. I think though where social media has illuminated this for me is now there is the ability for fans to feel like they have some personal connection in a way that they
Mm-hmm.
didn't before, right? So um fans can feel like uh in the case of this character Dre, like I need to protect my artist, right? Because people out here, not thinking that they're the best artist. And so the catch line for Dre is you don't want her to ask you the question, who's your favorite
Who's
art?
your favorite
Who's
artist?
your favorite artist? Right? You do not want her to ask, and then she'll look
And
at you
she,
all crazy.
who's your favorite artist? But let's take the word fan, right? The
Right.
word, the term fan is short for fanatic and
Mm.
fanaticism, and which is not a good thing.
Mhm.
Being a fanatic about something everything taken to an extreme, it has the tendency or propensity to be bad for you, right? But I think what we don't talk about is that record labels stoke these fires. They fan these flames, basically. They, especially now, we talked about this a couple episodes ago. Record labels won't release an artist's new project until they go viral,
Mhm.
because they know that these new platforms like your TikToks and your Instagrams, if you're not connected to your fan base and talking to them on a constant basis, then they're not going to release you. Now, somebody who has done that extremely well, and I think she is also, her fan base is talked about a lot,
Mhm.
and they are, and that's of course Nicki Minaj, and her barbs are, yeah, they come up a lot in these conversations, and they can be very scary,
Mhm.
but she has cultivated that relationship with them. That
Mhm.
whole, being able to talk to them and go live, and we saw that video of her after her performance at Rolling Loud, where she's
Yeah.
just barely keeping her eyes open, smoking, talking about saying, "Hey y'all, what's up? Take that baby inside."
Yeah.
And one of the young people said, "Nikki, I've been a barb since I was 7. I'm
Wow.
21 now."
Wow.
So imagine, that's 14 years of your formative years spent obsessing over, idolizing, um, replaying their music and hearing their voice constantly, that's mapping something in your brain. That's creating something in your brain, in my opinion. And yeah, Carlton, it's kind of scary, but it is how this industry operates. They depend on that. Hollywood depends on fans, and I think Hollywood has more scarier stories about people. There was the one young lady who was on a sitcom,
Yeah,
who was
my sister
murdered.
Sam.
My sister Sam, right?
Mm-hmm.
She was murdered in her apartment by a fan. How he found her, who knows? But when it comes to finding that information, a lot of these people who are overly zealous can be very dangerous.
So yes, I what's interesting about the moment that we're in, and I've been around for a long time. I've never been an obsessive fan. I'm obviously a fan of artists,
Mm-hmm.
but I've never been such a fan to the point where um my love for that artist kind of defines me as an individual.
Right.
And what this current moment that we're in, and I think one of the things that comes out in Swarm is um it, these the way the marketing machine is working is it's kind of making it part of your identity. Like the
Yeah.
fact that you are um
Barb.
a Barb. I think they were called the Hive in Swarm. The fact that you are part of this is somehow mapped onto your identity in some way. And
Navy.
yeah, and that to me is very different, right? We always have fan clubs. We grew up with fan clubs. Like that's not like an uncommon thing. Um, but I think what this particular, even though it's obviously not true and it's a psychological thriller that uses true elements, there's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
trueness built in to this show. So let's talk about a couple of those moments. So I remember the first time it popped up was the elevator, the kind of
Yes.
infamous elevator
Elevator scene.
incident that we all know about with Solange.
Solange.
They do a version of that in this, right? But there were a couple other moments that are like, oh no, that really happened.
The alleged biting of Beyonce. Who bit Beyonce?
Right.
Which I'm not gonna lie, that
That was
had
classic.
me rolling. I was rolling at that time. I was. It made me laugh in the movie, and it made me laugh in real time when that whole mystery came out, and it was like, and then it was rumored that it was Sanaa Lathan, which
Right.
made it even funnier. Like, you trying to picture what this
Like,
would
why did you
Sanaa do
bite?
that?
Right.
And if you notice, Sanaa, so at the past Oscars,
Mhm.
of course, all the black actors they go to a party. I believe the
Yep.
party was thrown by Miss Tina, Beyonce's
Okay.
mother,
Hmm.
and so there's a picture. I don't know if you saw the
I
picture
didn't.
of like all of young black Hollywood, all the actors and actresses posing this really big picture in a lobby somewhere, right at the party. In that picture is one Sanaa Lathan.
And Miss Tina's in the back.
And Miss Tina's in the back. So I'm like, I
And
wonder, did they rectify things, or we'll never know. We will never know until maybe Beyonce is in her 60s and she just starts to rambling like how Quincy Jones did, and she
baby, I
just
want all the stories, Beyonce. We will wait for 70-year-old Beyonce to give us all the tea.
absolutely, absolutely. But yes, I absolutely adore um Donald Glover's storytelling.
Hmm.
We've seen this on Atlanta.
Hmm.
The wink to the audience with
Yes.
these different takes and these different very obvious setups and scenes. The whole Paris Jackson,
That was
God bless her.
great.
That was amazing. The scene between her and Dominique Fishback at the
The
diner.
diner. Yeah.
I'm not gonna say a whole lot because this is we're already spoiling a whole bunch for you,
Right.
but it's class. It's amazingly funny, that scene. And go
Um,
ahead.
I wanted to stay there for a second because the other thing that comes up in this is you get these glimpses of people. So of course Paris Jackson is one. Billie Eilish is another who is fantastic.
Phenomenal. Like
Billie
she was riveting in her scenes.
she
Riveting.
absolutely was like, so you have all of these moments where these folks kind of show up in this world, and what I think this storytelling and the way they did it allows us to do is feel like it's real. I feel like episode 6 in the kind of the reenactment episode, like we're
Mm-hmm.
doing the true crime, I'm trying to find the killer. So two things I want to bring up in that is one, this idea that it takes a black that this black woman is like, no, I am committed to finding out who is doing this because I think it's
Mm-hmm.
another black woman and I
Absolutely.
can see this, right? um what I didn't know is that the scene with the dancers and the brother who was murdered, it would actually apparently really is a story, is a true story that happened
Mm-hmm.
where these four dancers were involved in a situation. I believe it was in Memphis, but apparently that's even true, where
Yeah.
there were all of these moments where we're also asking questions about black women's place. Um,
Right.
you know, we learn more Chloe Bailey and her character, who I wish could have lasted more than the one episode. I wanted more of that character.
Yeah, the whole issue of suicide, because clearly
Mm-hmm.
she had, it wasn't the first time.
It
We knew
wasn't the
that
first
she
time.
attempted suicide before. But yes, all these different stories are strung together using the element of the hive
Mm-hmm.
and fanaticism and dread. Yes, all these stories about black women specifically are being told because nobody talks about them.
Mm-hmm.
Because, and I thought that was very important, that was said in the reenactment episode, like you said, nobody, people barely look for black women when they go missing,
Yeah.
when they get killed. People, especially black girls,
Mm-hmm.
everybody, black girls are, you know, 9 times more likely to be disciplined in school than their white counterparts. And of course, that discipline leads to being put out of school. And then you're in a track to being put into prison and being disciplined just because you're deemed unruly or not easy to deal with. But what I also found interesting was the aspect again, and I mentioned it at the top, of the child protective services and
Oh, yeah.
child placements policies in this country. Clearly Drea has had mental issues,
Mm-hmm.
and y'all, you don't know how many more times, how often that happens more than you think when it comes to placing children outside of the home that have serious issues with these with in these foster homes. The foster home can either exacerbate the issue or can make it better, but sometimes you have, nobody takes the time to dig deeper to find out why this young lady um did what she did, you
Mm.
know,
Yeah.
and it was clear that she had killed before and
Yeah.
was doing that as a child. And so that being swept under the rugs just so they can place them, just so they can be put out of the way. They can get out of the way. They can stop being a problem to somebody. And that is just an overall umbrella of how young black women especially are being treated in society. And I know a lot of people took issue with they think that Donald Glover is degrading black women in this portrayal
Mm,
because of how Drea is portrayed in this movie as somebody who just is a base human being.
hmm.
But what they don't understand is there's a reason why she got there.
Yeah.
There's a reason why. Now, yes, there's a chemical natural thing that we all are born with, but then the nurturing aspect of who you're born, what family you're born into, or who are your caretakers can either minimalize that or make it worse.
Mm.
And so those are things that it made me think about that. Yeah. Great, great, great film to make you think. And it's entertaining as hell.
It really
Funny.
is. It
I think
is.
it's a dark comedy at parts.
It
Hilarious.
is. There are so many moments where I definitely did laugh out loud, and mm, I think we can learn. There are definitely things that we can learn from watching a show like this. I like that it was in bites too. They were like 30-minute
Yes.
episodes, which was awesome.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm actually really curious. I know this is never going to happen, but I want to kind of know what happens to Dre, right? So we of course end and I think we just got the ending, right? So, there's the I do have a question because it does end with this dream sequence of her actually ending up in the bosom of this character Nija, who has the face of Marissa, her friend who died by suicide. So there's that, right? But so I'm wondering if getting to the end, and y'all can let us know what you think in the chat, is all of what we saw just an extended psychological break for Dre? Like maybe none of that stuff happened, right? Maybe the only thing that is happening is we're in Dre's mind. But I'm curious. But the ending of it did make me wonder: is this like, did any of this really happen, or was she just kind of dreaming it the whole time because she was in her head a lot?
A lot. And I think that was done on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of artists want you to think, want you to be confused and come up with your own scenarios. And
Mm-hmm.
I think Donald Glover definitely and his team
Mm-hmm.
definitely like doing that. Because if you saw the final episode of Atlanta, yeah, we were all just having the same head scratching moment. Like, wait a minute, did that just happen?
Mm-hmm.
So no, but that's a great point.
Mm-hmm.
um was it all a dream? Was it a fever? Was it part of her psychological break? you know
So let's to that point. I do. We've talked about mental health a lot on this show, and
yes.
it was very clear that Marissa and Dre were friends because of a shared, they bonded in that issue. They both knew that each other had different challenges, mental health challenges, right?
Hmm.
And that was clearly one of the things that bonded them. And it just makes me even more committed to making sure that folks understand, who are listening to this show, that um therapy is important, right? And championing therapy is really important because um sometimes it's just challenging. At no point watching these 7 episodes did I get a sense that Dre had been in some sort of psychological care at any point. So my question is, were these things that were clearly present when she was a child addressed
Hmm.
at any point, either through the state or through, clearly not through her foster family either?
Yeah,
Uh,
you're right.
so, I think we just need to be really open about championing therapy for folks.
And again, I've said it numerous times on the show about it's so important how we treat each other,
Grace and
because
space.
grace and space, because you just never know where that person is in their life in that journey, and the words that you say can either, turn the anger off or turn it on, turn it up. You just never know. So yeah, definitely take this as a warning, people. You
Mhm.
know, especially if somebody asks you, "Hey, who's your
Who's your
favorite
favorite
artist?"
artist? That is going to be now in the lexicon of like horror. Who's your favorite artist?
Especially, I'm already using that screenshot of her where she's with the two ponytails, the
Yeah.
two knots, and she's like looking like. I'm already using that as a meme, but I gotta say this. There was a point in the show where I was like, I don't know, somebody gonna have to put her down. Like I really thought Leon
Yeah.
was gonna put one in her and like really put her out of her misery because Dre at one point is a menace. She is a menace and a cold-hearted menace at that, which is enjoyable at the same time. But I was like, yikes! Imagine if somebody like
Yeah.
that was real.
Girl, like, listen, that artist don't know you, boo. And I really felt okay to that point. Like, I will say it definitely tugged at my heartstrings when she killed her girlfriend. Like that was like a lot. Like I was like, oh my God,
Yeah,
you are still here. And you could even see it in Dre as she was doing it. Like, that's a person who clearly really loved you.
yeah, and took care. Yeah, there were glimpses of. You can see there were glimpses of her that were like, oh, you do care about me. You can see it, but then
Yep.
immediately the other side just took over and she just blanked out
Yep.
and was like, no, this is getting in the way of my mission, what I need to do.
Meet Naja. Wow. Wow. Listen, watch Swarm, y'all. Well, child, if you watch this far, if you listen this far, you watch this far, chances are you've seen it.
You've seen it.
But even if you haven't seen it, hopefully we've sparked your interest. This is and on all fairness, this is my first. I didn't watch Atlanta, so I don't have an Atlanta connection.
Okay.
Remember,
Okay.
I don't, I didn't see it. So this is kind of my first Donald Glover experience, and I totally enjoyed it. And I do want to lift up the fact that black folks should be allowed to do weird shit. Like,
Absolutely.
we should be allowed to make weird shit and write weird shit and get funded to do it. And I feel like this show is like part of that. Like, it's a little weird and I'm okay with it. So,
I second that motion. And yeah, we are coming to the end of the show.
mhm.
J Ray, let's give it up again for the people that are subscribed and let the people that aren't subscribed yet know how they could be a part of our hive and be a part of our swarm.
Oh yeah, we need a fan club name. So why don't y'all help
And
us with that?
come up with that, and then you can start asking people, who's your favorite podcast?
Yes, yes, we need a name for y'all. So make sure that if you are listening to this or you are watching this, that you are subscribed wherever you are listening or watching. That is the easiest way to support your boys and share it with your friends and family. You can support us monetarily, which is great. As well, by subscribing on our website. If you go to qpoints.com forward and click the subscribe button, you will be able to subscribe to us and make sure that you can shop for merch on our store, the Q Point store, store.qpoints.com, and make sure you go ahead and join our newsletter, which is magazine.qpoints.com.
Did you see Gil's comment
The
calling us the
Q's, we
Q's?
we can't do that. That's already
That will
taken.
not fly.
It's already taken.
that
And
that won't
really,
fly.
because that really wouldn't work out for me.
Definitely not. No, yes, especially for you, that really
Yeah.
wouldn't work for you.
Thank you,
So
Gil.
thank you, but go back to the drawing board on that one. And until next time, folks, what do I always say, J Ray, in this life? You have an opportunity. You can either pick up the needle or you can let the record play.
The
Look at
needles.
all these names.
The
Look at all
Z.
these names coming in at the
Hey,
end. The
Trey.
needles.
Trey is in the joint.
The
That's
needles.
awesome. What's your
But
statement? You got to do it again. Hold on. What we got to do, Sir Daniel?
in this life, you have to ask the question, what's your favorite podcast? No. In this life, you have a choice. You can either pick up the needle or you can let the record play. I am Sir Daniel.
I am J Ray, y'all. Peace.
And this is Q Points. We'll see you on the next go round. No, really. What's your favorite podcast?